And welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in today for another Underrail video. Why? Because I love this game. And in this video I will show you the perfect character build for this game, for the beginning of the game and further on. So let's start a new game. Now you can choose the game difficulty. This game in default is pretty damn hard. So just a word of warning there. So it's up to you to decide how you want to play the game. You have two experience systems. You have oddity, which means you'll find some strange items throughout the world and you'll learn from that. You'll get XP from that for finding stuff, right? And you have the classic system where you just get experience by killing enemies and completing quests. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to play the game. Now this is interesting because here you have some basic attributes: strength, dexterity, agility, constitution, perception, will, and intelligence. You have 5 points to spend, and it kind of depends on what kind of character you want to be, but later on in the game you'll get more points to spend. So it's not, at the beginning of the game, it's not really that important how you choose here. So since I am a mentalist using a lot of these psychic powers, I put in some points at will and intelligence, and probably the rest in strength, like this. Because strength, you gotta need strength throughout the game. Alright, now let's try the skills. So here you have 120 points to spend on skills. Now one thing you should not do is be a jack of all trades in this game. It's not there's so many things to choose from here. So don't go thinking, well, I like guns, I like stealth, I like crafting, I like these mental powers, so I'm gonna spend all these points on all kinds of different things right here. You shouldn't do that, right? Especially in the beginning, you're making your life harder than necessary, because in the beginning of the game there's a lot of combat with lower level enemies. So the best thing you can do right here is put a lot of points in melee combat right here. I'd say spend 40. Even spend just, oh, you can't, right? So 15. I said I 40? No, 15. So max this out, melee combat. Don't max out the guns. Why? Because guns early on in the game are pretty useless. Your skill is just too low to use them properly, and you won't find a lot of enemies that use guns. You will find a lot of beasts and just smaller enemies, so it's better to have melee combat skills. And these come in handy later on in the game as well, because a lot of enemies will come at you, come really close, so you're gonna need melee combat throughout the game, right? Okay, now in my experience, also lockpicking is very important in the beginning, so max this out as well. Why? Because there are a lot of stuff you can loot from lockers, from boxes, all kinds of stuff. Hacking as well is very important. You should put points in that, max this out. Okay, now again, social. We're talking about social persuasion, intimidation. I wouldn't spend any points in the beginning here. Why? Because I only came across one quest that actually required some social skills, right? So it makes no sense putting points in the social skills. Alright, technology, electronics, chemistry, biology, tailoring, these are all about crafting, pretty much. And in the beginning of a game you're not gonna craft anything because you don't have the stuff, you haven't found the components, so you're not gonna craft anything. So best thing you do is just put up the stealth as well, because these makes you invisible for a time being, which is pretty damn useful. Put in some in dodge and evasion, because these are quite handy when you are in combat, melee combat as well. So I do that. You might want to put some in crossbows, because you're gonna find crossbows quite early in the game. You might even start with one. So you have crossbows, melee, just to have something other than just your melee skills. Again, guns, shouldn't touch that. guns require ammo, and that will cost you money. So now crossbows will cost you arrows, but you can get those. You can find those as well. So this is pretty much how I do it. Maybe I'd put in some pickpocketing as well, which will come in handy. So this is probably how I would start the game, right? No guns, no throwing, just crossbows, melee, dodging, evasion, stealth, hacking, lockpicking, pickpocketing. But the pickpocketing, I'd say, is a little bit arbitrary. You could not do this and just put it somewhere else. But it really depends on you. Alright, so this is pretty much how I would start the game with these skills. Now let's take a look at feats. You can pick 2. Now this is very important. You want to pick the, let's say, I think it's the doctor. Let's see, there must be let me see, is there not doctor here? Expertise, conditioning. Let me see, there are more. The doctor, okay. Requirements, oh, okay. We have to go back to skills, because the doctor, you need the doctor feat, right? You need 15 biology. So go back to skills and lower the pickpocketing. I have 15 points left, so I lowered the pickpocketing. You don't need that in the beginning, I think. And go to biology. And put the 15 in there. And then go to feats, and now you can select the doctor. And the doctor is very important in the beginning of the game, as it allows you to use bandages to heal yourself. So pick that one. And, you know, for the rest, it just depends on you, pretty much. I'd say the puncher, just to buff some extra, buff the melee skill even more, right? If you're using your fist, might work. So this is pretty much how I'd start the game from the beginning, right? Now, let's go back and I'll show you how my level, I think 13, level 12 character looks like. Alright, so this is me at this point in the game. I've spent around 20 to 30 hours in the game. And let's go to the character sheet. Level 12. As you can see, these basic attributes have not really raised that much. You know, I've raised intelligence a bit, perception, so you can sort of avoid traps and stuff and see hidden trapdoors or something like that. So let's take a look at the skills. Now this is important. Now I'm level 12, and as you can see, I pretty much maxed out my psi skills. So the thought control, the psychokinesis, and the materess mix, something like that. I've not even put any points in social skills at all. As you can see, 0, 0, 0. Hardly any in these crafting skills. I don't craft, because the stuff you'll come across in the game you can pretty much buy, right? You can craft guns, but you can also buy them. And that might be a little flaw in the game, is that buying the items is not much expensive. It's not more expensive than actually making them yourself, crafting them yourself. Alright, so furthermore, I've raised stealth a lot. This will come in handy later on in the game. The hacking, the lockpicking, not so much. I should have raised this a little bit more than this, but you know, I've put a lot of my points in these psi skills. I'll show you in a minute why. Because they're just cool. They're just cool. So let's move on to the offense. You can see here I've put a lot of points in guns. Now this time around I did put a lot of points in guns, because mid-game, you're gonna need guns, right? You're gonna need guns. And I've raised the melee skills more to 30. Okay, so guns are very useful now in mid-game. So this is pretty much how I build my character at level 12, right? I shouldn't have put these points in electronics, mechanics, because I should have used them on other things. I should have used them on stealth more, I think, hacking, lockpicking. These are quite handy throughout the game, I'd say. Keep raising these, the stealth, hacking, and the lockpicking. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Feats, I got a lot of feats going on. As you can see, I have the doctor, the hunter, a lot of these things, a lot to do with looting, with psi powers. These are really cool. So they extra buff your psi power. I'm gonna show you the psi power. I found a lot of these powers, by the way. As you can see, like all these are pretty much spells you can use in the game. They work as spells. These will shoot ice at your enemy. This one will freeze your enemy. This is a shield you can put up like this. It's really handy. This is sort of a flamethrower. This is just a burning thing. You know, you can sort of set a certain amount of tiles aflame. This is one that will disrupt the enemies so that they have difficulty hitting you. This one is this is neutral overload, which means that you can do damage to their mines. That's pretty cool. So I think because these powers are in the game, I think it's pretty much how the developer wanted you to play the game with these powers. There are a lot of them, so it's just cool to use them as well. You know, why go for guns if you have all these powers, right? And these don't use up any ammo. They will regenerate after a while. You know, the number of what was that? What's the psi power? It will regenerate like this bar. So that's basically it. This is how I build my character. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.